Meeting minutes you all received, and I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the minutes as written from the previous meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, great. Anybody have any questions about the meeting minutes from the last meeting?
Didn't get them, just to kind of
Alright.
fill you in.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten anything.
I did ask John to add her to,
But I specifically copied you on the last one.
No,
About the
for,
next
The
day,
day after the meeting,
next morning,
next morning.
yeah, I do
like
have.
6 in the morning.
Exactly.
Yeah, you did send it out. You did do Jason
Serious?
and you did Kevin.
And I didn't have
I don't
Jess?
see Jess, no.
okay, I was gonna say, unless it went to spam, but,
Well, she can't vote on the ones before that anyway, because she wasn't.
Oh.
So.
But I did request that you get added to the alias.
Yes.
He's working on that,
right,
because we're getting a whole different, we're going
I'll
up to
send them to you,
the town
Jess.
server.
right.
He was surprised to hear that everybody didn't have a town website or a town email.
Mm.
He just thought everybody had one.
All right, of the people who can vote, all in favor of the minutes as they are?
Yep.
Aye, 5, and we'll put you down as abstain for this one.
Yeah,
501. I don't know if there you are.
and
I
it's
just sent
the,
it to you.
okay, it's the myfairpoint.net. Is that the one that you have, or do you still have the Yahoo?
I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see. All right, our big, no. KRY
Yep, at
at
myfairpoint?
Yahoo.
No, that's not the right one. We'll get it straightened out.
All right, we have, sorry, that's the one I have for you from the
Okay.
past. We'll have to let Sandy grab one for you then. We have 5
I can email it to you.
envelopes here. I assuming they're 5 proposals. Last time we did this, we opened them up, passed them around and read through them. I'll give you a quick run. This one's from Regis Landscaping in Hudson. Runs down with a price of $42,400.
Per year, right?
Here, we'll start this way and work our way across. I'll give it to the vice chair first.
No, we're not gonna award a bid tonight, correct?
We didn't last time, we deferred, and with Keith out and all the work he does to this, we usually
That would
wait.
be my high recommendation that we, because it gives you more time to read through 'em.
Right.
And also, if we have a question, if there's something that we're not clear about.
We get to
can
go
always
back and
follow up.
ask.
Didn't we last time scan them, somebody scanned them, so we could all read them?
I think we took
Yes.
copies in the copy machine last time.
We did, 'cause I remember getting them online.
Second
Left
one's
them in the
here
town hall,
from,
right?
what's
Say
that?
again?
And you left them in the town hall,
Yeah.
right?
The originals were left here.
Correct.
Bill Jones and Sons Landscaping and Lawn Care, came through,
I haven't heard of them.
and neither have I. That's interesting.
And where are they at it?
It just says a phone number.
668, that's Manchester.
What's that?
668 looks like it's Manchester.
Could be, but it doesn't have an address on
This
here.
guy's a Litchfield resident, but
Total on this, $43,200. And again, I'll read all the scope of work privately like you guys will, and we can debate it next meeting. I don't remember doing this last time.
Now,
having a fight through
this went
I
out for a
think
2-year bid, right? This
This-
went out for a 2-year bid,
Yes.
Yep.
and I'm assuming that these guys. What?
Bless you.
I mean, they're giving us a total, both groups.
You ready? A&A Proscapes. A&A Proscapes from Milford, New Hampshire. 39-1. This has got 4 pages to it. Oh, they're all marked. Okay, there you go.
Now, the last time we did this, a couple of them showed up, right?
Yep.
yeah, they did.
Some people wanna show up because they can
Yeah.
snap their
I
names right
wanna
down.
say he sounds familiar.
Yeah, he was
A&A,
here.
He was here last time, yeah. And they gave us, if I recall, it was like $10,000 to do the infield.
Infield.
Remember, he was so different.
All right, TLC turf. Litchfield. He's actually listed both years with different amounts. Got $45,000 for 2015, 46,500 for 2016.
So this says, oh, okay.
Mackerel. It's a sealed bid. Door right there. Okay. From Sumner, not Summer, Sumner Scape.
Wow.
Sumner Scape. And Farmington, New Hampshire. And 33,900 per year.
Wow.
That's what they have down here.
You said five, right? That was it?
What's that?
That was
There's
five
five, yeah.
proposals?
So I'm gonna make a motion that we take the bids, we copy them off, and that we review them, and
Does that need to be a motion?
I think so. And try to make a decision at the next meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Andy, any discussion needed on that?
Is it okay to do follow-up calls with the people in the bid? In other words, some of these aren't giving us any references. Can we call and get some references, or?
Do we wanna come back with questions at the next meeting, so we're all on board on what the questions
Yeah,
are?
I'd like.
And then
And then,
push it forward, so we've got, last time we did it centralized, one person asked all the questions, got back to everybody by email what our questions were, so we're all in line with what we're doing.
Yeah,
when
one
we do
bid
that.
talked about what they're going to do, like blowing off the clippings. You just said blowing the clippings, I don't know what that means, and we definitely discussed that in our,
And if it's okay with you, I'll amend the motion to doing it in 4 weeks, that we make a bid decision as opposed to next meeting.
all right, so next meeting we'll have questions that we'll
Questions,
go to-
answers, yeah.
that sounds good.
And maybe we can contact these companies and have them attend our next meeting for the questions.
We wanna contact them all?
Say that again?
I mean, basically, maybe contact these companies and have them come in if we have questions on their bids, no?
No. I'd funnel all the questions to one person and then call them.
Okay,
The last thing you want is 4 contractors sitting here.
that's true.
5.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Any other discussion on the motion? All right, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye. 6-0-0. Good. I guess that covers that. We'll make copies at the end of the meeting. Russ, how are you?
Hi, Adrian.
Good?
Russ Cullen, Litchfield Baseball.
What's that?
Russ Cullen, Litchfield Baseball.
Oh, I thought you said softball and baseball.
So as you guys know, we kind of really operate completely independently of any other organization in town. And there was some discussions about coming somehow being associated with the rec. Specifically, I'm looking for the benefit of possibly saving our own, insurance. We pay our own insurance every year directly through the Cal Ripken organization that we are a part of. It's a very inexpensive line item on our budget, as our numbers have shrunk over the years. I'm every year looking for ways to save money. And so I'm wondering if there is, like an umbrella or, insurance that we could fall under, and whether that means that we have to align ourselves more closely with the rec commission or whatever is necessary, and I wanted to come and explore that option.
So effectively, what we told the other organizations when they came in, I think basketball was the first one to join the Recreation Commission. They had a set of guidelines. I joined as basketball when I wasn't on the Rec Commission, and the guidelines said you had to have a established board of directors. You had to have bylaws.
Yep.
You had to submit a budget both before and then annually to the Rec Commission. And I think that was all. And then we would vote on it at that point. The organizations that have joined after basketball, pickleball's on board now.
Wrestling,
What's that?
wrestling.
Wrestling's on board.
And lacrosse.
Lacrosse is on board. Effectively, I mean, as a group, we think it's in everybody's best interest so that we're all on the same page. We're all working together in town for the same benefits of the kids. I don't understand the desire to be independent, not that we're looking to rule baseball or any of the organizations. I can speak for myself in basketball. Actually, 3 of us were on the basketball board. Andy's the only one left, but we didn't have any undue influence through the Rec Commission. If anything, it helped us. It got them on board to see what we were doing and where we were headed with the organization.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I don't see any downside to it myself. I think there was concerns in the past about having a government organization involved in recreational sports, and to me, I mean, that's all politics, and that doesn't bother me at all. You know, at the end of the day, we're one small little town here, unless you come in and say that, you know, our players have to wear, you know, pink jumpsuits, or anything along those lines, you know, I can only see benefits.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I'd love to share our contact list with other organizations so they can send emails out and encourage, and at the same time, would love to get access maybe to other families through that. You know, I mean, that's kind of a side, you know, a side thing, you know, to have maybe more people that we can send emails to. But it was definitely the insurance, you know, what I mean, that I was looking for. And are there any requirements, I mean, that you guys would have from us above and beyond that? Do you want to attend our board meetings, or?
there would be one member that would be responsible to be the coordinating member with the baseball organization, whoever that might be. Typically, it's somebody who's got somebody in your program and is much more involved. We usually look for a show of hands who's looking to jump on board and do that.
That would be pretty easy, because that would be me.
I go.
I mean, so it's something I would definitely, you know, I need to take to our board, obviously. We actually have a meeting tomorrow, and, you know, get their feedback, and maybe we can take a vote on it. And so I understand, I mean, based on that relationship, we would then be covered by an insurance policy you guys have in place.
It's the town's insurance policy for the recreation department.
And that, I mean, we have coverage that includes coaches and the players. I would imagine you guys have a similar
It's the same
thing, right?
general liability coverage that covers everybody in town
Right.
right now.
And then we also go out and we seek background checks on our individual coaches. I don't know if you guys have a program already in place for that, or if you would share.
We don't have a program for the coaches. Up until a few years ago, the selectmen had voted that they would handle that in town. The Rec Commission doesn't have a policy for that. We suspect over time that's going to be forced on all the organizations to do the background checks. But we don't have a set system for doing it right now. The big concern is, and I guess my question for you is, who controls the background checks for you? Because that's our biggest concern from controlling it from a Rec Commission standpoint.
So we have Sports Sign Up, which is an organization that charges, you know, almost $20 per kid to register through an online system that they control, register for the year, and, you know, pay the $80 with their credit card, and they take, you know, they give us back the $62 or whatever is left after registrations. That company also has a certified program that does background checks. To do background checks, you need to be accredited in the country. I mean, it's kind of almost the same level of doing credit checks on people. So, I mean, they have an organization that is, you know, fully responsible and accredited to to do that, and so we just really give our coaches a link. They go on there and they put all their information directly into this third party's website application, and then we just get a bill for the $12 per coach that does it.
And what do you get, a yes or no for each coach?
Yes, there's an online interface that basically, sometimes they'll say this, applicant has either a conflict with a name or something like that. Sometimes I have to go back and say, hey, you put in Greg, is your real name Gregory, things like that. We have had, so there's very limited reporting if there's no issues, but then there's some very detailed information if they get a hit, if you will. We've never had a hit, so I've only seen the examples of what they give you. And then they can kind of you can make your decision based on that. You may say, oh, this person had an issue, but it wasn't involving children, it was maybe a domestic, and so you can kind of make that decision. They don't kind of say yes or no, they just give you the facts. Either no information found or the following information was found.
But then what do you, as far as that information, how is that, like, so if you were to get somebody was, information on an individual, what is the board's policy on handling that? As far as who gets that information, where is that information get stored, does it get destroyed? I mean, you don't want to be, all of a sudden, this gets out and...
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we really don't have a formal policy on what to do if we do get that. Basically, right now, it's only me that would have access to there's only one person that's considered an authorized user, and so I have the ability to go on there and then would bring to the board any situation that would arose to make a decision. And yes, so I guess as the president, I need to set, we've only been doing this for 2 years, and so because we haven't had any bad things, it's been easy for us, but I guess at some point we need to decide how much information do we share with our board or just make a vote based on some very generic, but it's a good question.
So if my memory serves me correct, the selectmen recommended that the police chief be the person that controls background checks for those organizations if we were to establish a policy for doing something like that. I know as this group was concerned, none of us wanted any part of making that decision, and as a board for basketball, that was one of the reasons that stepped us back from saying A, cost, and B, what do we do with the information when we get it?
I can get that answer tomorrow.
Can you? That'd be great. Love to get an update on that, because it's been a couple of years since we've really hammered it out.
Yeah, but if you collect the background checks, it should be in your bylaw, as far as how you do it and what you do with them. That's the way, that's what we tell anybody. If you're gonna collect them, you have to have a procedure in doing it. Because then that way there, even if the procedures were wrong, there's a procedure that's followed. So that way there, it's cut and dry how it was done.
Okay, so I'll put that on our internal. We had as well investigated going through the town. My understanding was there were some limitations because the town could only check within the town, where these databases check for national, national registry, for example. And so I don't know what the limitations are or aren't.
Usually the national is not an issue, just the controlling of the data coming back would be the issue. Who in town would be the most responsible person? That's the debates we had in this room with the selectmen came back to, which really should go to our chief law enforcement officer. So.
Yeah, so that's that's up to debate, I guess, internally a little bit. We need to decide that. What if you get a hit on somebody?
Right.
And so now I appreciate
So
you.
the bylaws that you have, I mean, have they been updated recently? Because
Probably not within the last couple of years.
they have? Okay. I mean, the original ones I saw were
So probably
16,
not.
17 years ago. So there was nothing in there about background checks from the original ones you had. If you could zip us off a copy of the bylaws, if you're going to do this, it would probably help all of us to see it before we sat down here at a meeting and were able to read through it and hit you with questions if we had any.
Okay, that's fine. That's definitely something I'd send in advance of a voting meeting.
The information I got is that Recreation seems to collect the bylaws and the budget, and basically you ask for a list of the board, okay? If this board is satisfied with that, and that's what you've done for everybody in the past, you can grant authorization in a meeting. You would walk out of this meeting with that coverage. So your coaches would be covered, you'd be able to run clinics right away, just so that you know that that's the way that works. That once this board grants it, it's instantaneous. There isn't even a phone call made because it's under the blanket insurance policy. Because this group approves it, you're the controlling authority for that.
You do.
We are.
We are. You do bring up a point. There are some state law changes towards clinics and so forth. Our organizations received all that last year. The state requires, if you're going to run a camp or a clinic, some new rules and some controlling rules towards, but you're already getting background checks. So if you're doing that, you already fall in line with what the state's looking for in that.
Yeah, I remember being introduced to those last year, and we kind of did a sanity check to say, do we already kind of follow the
Oh, you guys did get a copy of them? Great.
Yes, we did, yeah.
Good.
So we appreciate that, yeah. No, you guys were ahead of that last year for us. And so, okay, that sounds great. Let me speak to my board tomorrow, and then maybe in advance. Is it I'm sorry, I know it's on the website.
Second and fourth Tuesday,
Second and fourth Tuesday.
7:30.
Because I'd like to move forward with that, again, really mostly for the cost savings. And our current policy is in effect till February or March of next year anyway, so this isn't urgent for us, and we don't have any lapses of insurance if this works out, so I think that makes sense for everybody.
On a side note, since you have a meeting going, baseball fields and discussions, Jeff Lane, have your board talked to anything about doing anything with Jeff Lane? Or, I know we've had discussions in the past about possibly doing something across the street and ripping that field down to a parking lot level and moving some of the sand over. Is that in something that you guys are interested in doing at all?
We haven't formally spoke about it. I mean, we're really willing to take any improvements that were given to us or that we could participate in. I mean, something would, put feelers out and get as much manpower down there, whatever was needed. I would like to see improved parking there, but the fact is that there's no houses right there, which is great. And I don't see really people impeding on mailbox delivery and stuff like that. So, I mean, it'd be nice to have. Those fields every year they get incredibly overgrown, and so the infield, what was dirt is now completely weed, so we have to redo that every year. I do have a wish list of stuff I'd like to do. I mean, we need infield mix, for example, at the two fields at Corning. Those are in desperate need of infield mix.
We still have a pile of it sitting at Dara. Welcome to be taken if you've got a volunteer that wants to grab it.
Yeah, so I guess I should try to coordinate a dump truck and someone to go down there and maybe.
Even contacting the town.
Let me see what I can get for an answer for you tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, no, we talked at one time with the town agent. What's his name?
Jack.
Yeah, to maybe do some of that. So we have limited funds and material. I mean, equipment, but I'd love to use some of that. And we certainly would spread that ourselves next year. But to move it between now and then would be terrific.
I think we probably need some more gravel up in that parking lot at Corning too, because it's starting to get that divot as you come off the inlet. We just need to
Is
either
the infield
regrade
mix
it
still
or.
on the side? The infield mix is still on the side over at Dara?
Yeah.
By the
Shed,
Okay.
behind the shed.
Yeah.
That second
Right to the right of the shed,
Yeah.
right? It's probably 4 feet. I mean, it's
Oh,
good
God.
size.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pile.
it's a skateboard hill now.
Okay.
I mean, in general, we make do with the fields every year, and I wish the school would invest as more into that field at GMS, but that's obviously not your issue. To be honest, the grass at Corning, that Corning facility is always, I think, pretty well taken care of. For even last year, I don't know if you had somebody new there or whoever was in the contract last year.
Last 2 years, there's been somebody new over there.
It's always trimmed nice by the fence, and the grass is always, pretty green and cut. There's been a couple of times when you maybe get to that last day before the cutting and it looks like crap, but then the next day it looks great. So I really haven't had any complaints. I mean, you've been down there maybe more than I have over the last couple of years. Would you give any feedback?
It was definitely better 2 years ago than it was this year, but it is a good field. I mean, it's one of those things that we just want to keep up.
We appreciate the fact that we don't have to maintain the sprinkler system or anything like that. I mean, it's nice to kind of just go down there and play more or less.
It's a give and take, though. Pay for the dumpster, you pay for your own electricity for the shed. I mean, it's a good give and take with the town.
And we have probably 20 or 30 volunteers at that field in Jeff Lane for about 3 hours, so what's that, 90 man hours on our field day? That we've, put into those two facilities, and that really makes a big difference. Over the years, I mean, I look back at 5 or 10 years ago, the overgrowth and the ability to walk down that lower field was unbelievable. Every year we cut back, and every year I get the brush hog and beat back a little bit, so I think it's it's better, definitely better, and that flat parking lot is great now, all of it, so I think it's come along.
Good.
I'm happy for our little town. We go to a lot of other towns, and we see better, we see a lot worse, so that's the truth. I'm happy. I do have a couple things in the works, the Knights of Columbus, and I spoke about this last time, and I just never got around to kind of putting it on paper, but want to put benches on that small slope at Corning that overlooks the larger field. So that's something I'll put on paper and present to you guys at an upcoming meeting, and maybe do that for spring. We would obviously provide all the materials and the labor. There's a couple of fence repair projects, I think in the past that we presented to you guys, and you were gracious enough to have fixed. So maybe we could do something like that again this year, just a couple of minor little fences that are kind of peeling back or not quite secure. But my wish list is much more the school field than anything you guys control.
I ask because the town is in the process of working with someone on the planning departments to give an overview of the recreation needs for the town in the future. And baseball's vision, I don't have as well lined up as I have heard softballs and lacrosses and soccer's visions of what they would like. So that's why I ask you tonight. You don't have to, it can be in writing. It's not immediate. It was more of a,
Okay.
you're gonna be meeting with them, let them know that I'm curious, we all are. We're all curious what your vision is and what you guys would like. I mean, I've heard we'd like 2 more baseball fields in the Talent Road piece of land that the town owns in the past. I mean, I've heard different things, but I'm kinda wanting to know what your board's looking at, what they're thinking.
We'd love another field. We definitely have people that don't get enough field time or practice time. We have a very abbreviated season. We have always focused on being done by the day school's out, so that people can start their summer vacation. And we really can't get on the fields until March or April. So we literally have just all of April, all of May, and a little bit of June.
So you want a turf field?
Yeah, it would be great to have an indoor turf field. How's that?
Indoor turf field.
Yeah.
Oh, toss
Season
that one
never
right.
ends then. Season never
Okay.
ends. Play all year.
Raise my taxes. I'll take it.
I'm gonna have to run out. If you don't mind, I'm just gonna interrupt. I just gotta raise one thing I have to bring up to the board to get approval on. The basketball board, we are planning on replacing the 2 backboards inside Talent. And remember the backboard that needed to be replaced at GMS? We're taking one of those half moons from Talent, the main boards, and using that to replace, instead of buying them a new one, we're getting one that will match what they have. And we're gonna get 2 72-inch retrofit glass backboards with the breakaway rim
For the ends.
So we just wanted to get your approval to make that change to Talent.
That was a motion?
That was a motion.
All right.
Yes.
So you get all that?
What's that?
I'll second that. That's great.
The only thing I could say in discussion, that's fabulous. I love the idea.
It was gonna cost $700 to buy a new half moon backboard for GMS, and I was like, hold on. Spending $700-800, and we're gonna have the same.
For a 9-foot basket sitting at GMS that
Right.
barely gets used, yeah, that's,
So now we'll have 2 nice new backboards so that, the kids that practice can practice on a backboard that's gonna be more like what they're playing at. And so we figured it would be a good win for everybody.
you got it all?
Yep.
Any other discussion? Got a motion? First and second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Say aye, 6-0-0.
All right,
Got your motion.
thank you.
See ya.
Any idea when that would happen, Andy?
Hopefully before Thanksgiving.
Great.
Who's put them up?
Well, I was gonna call you and see if you wanted to help
Okay.
me.
Give me a holler.
Okay,
All right.
thanks.
It's gotta be in the weekend, though. It's this time of year.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
See ya.
Bye.
Sorry to interrupt.
So I'll maybe give you a couple paragraphs on our vision.
Okay.
I mean, I guess the idea is there any chance of getting additional fields? I mean, is that something you think that should get on a horizon?
If we
someday?
don't know what you're looking for, there's no chance. So I guess that's the best way of saying, if we've got it in a line that we're looking at, we know we want a playground down at the new soccer fields, the Litchfield Park soccer fields, as part of the original plan. So there's things that we know that we want. We know we would all love a multi-purpose building with artificial turf and fields. Since I started the rec commission, people have talked about that, just the amount of money we're talking about. So there are wish lists out there that are reasonable and some that seem unattainable right now, but we need to know, so we can at least discuss it and find out where it falls in our line of thinking as well. I think the only other question I'd ask would be numbers, ideas for numbers. How many you think you had coming up this year, or approximate what you have coming up this year and what you had last year for numbers in the program?
Okay. That's part of that package.
I can't anticipate any other questions that we'd ask.
That
Trying to
was,
think for Keith right now, because Keith would have asked that question.
that was the other one that we were forgetting.
Yeah.
I sent Russ the whole, when I sent the email, everybody to collect it all, I sent it all. That was the other one we were missing.
Okay.
Yeah, I did have that list, and so I appreciate you doing some of the legwork ahead of time, but there's just a chance to come in here and make it a little formal. Okay, so registration. It's tough at the end of the year. Our town has had less kids influx. We've had a lot of other sports that come in and drag other kids away. And so I've talked to a lot of other towns, and they have a similar situation where they had twice as many kids playing baseball 5 or 6 years ago. So our numbers are holding strong, and I'd like to try to continue the program. May get to a point where it gets so small that we would need to send our kids to another town. At some point, you really need to have 4 teams in each league to not be playing the same team over and over. And so we currently have 4 teams in each of our 4 divisions. We have about 160 kids. So things have worked out good, but if we have another, we have a 20% drop or something, we may have to consider either putting the whole opportunity, have everybody register with another town, or to keep our internal and then play other towns in the regular course of the season. But as things stand right now, we've had a solid history in the last 4 years of 3 years of pretty consistent numbers, so we're definitely looking forward to keeping with it.
Great.
So hesitant to ask for another field when I don't absolutely need it, but it would definitely give us some breathing room as far as there's a short enough season as well. We've been talking about having less games every year because we run into situations where rain delays or rain outs cause us to have games 2 or 3 nights in a row, back to back, and that's tough on teams. But yeah, we're up something, absolutely.
Okay.
It's nice
That's
to
good
be
for me.
asked. I said it's nice to be asked.
Yeah.
Good, that's all I really have.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you.
We'll see you back in a couple of weeks, hopefully.
Yeah, if not the 4th Tuesday, then a month from this meeting.
Okay. Sounds great.
Great, thanks for everything, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Russ.
Have a good one, Russ.
Anybody have anything else they want to cover tonight?
Trying to go back and see. Andy answered the question of just that Jeanette. I don't think there was anything. There was that one individual that sent Bill Jones. He had some questions about mowing. He sent that out on Sunday. We all got it. I don't think no one
He
responded.
submitted
Oh, he did? Bill Jones? Did I miss it? Oh, Bill Jones and Son, yeah. So I guess we don't need to answer his questions. I think that was it.
Is your budget done for this coming next year, the next year? It's already done?
yes.
Okay. Okay.
September, pretty much.
September, that's when you have to do it, okay.
No one remembers anything else that we had.
I didn't have anything else.
No.
Did you have something you wanted to add to the budget?
The Easter egg hunt. The yard sale didn't quite go as good as I was
How did-
hoping.
It didn't go well?
I think there was just so much going on in town that, I mean, we had more online orders. We took pictures of the stuff and everybody was like, can't get that. Can you hold that for me? Can you hold that? The traffic just wasn't there. I mean, we had, it was very slow. It was mostly me and my friends who did most of the shopping. I mean, I made some
Me
money.
and Keith, when we did, well, he organized it, but it was that sports swap.
Right,
We
right.
did most of the shopping. I don't know how to get the communication out there better. I mean, we have.
I covered everything. I mean, I gave flyers to every single
Yeah.
student in GMS, LMS. I put it on every single Facebook
Yeah.
yard sale, Craigslist, the newspaper. I put it everywhere. And it was just, I think they had soccer this weekend, they had football this weekend, they had the blood drive this weekend. I think it was just so crazy busy that, it was, I mean, we all made pretty good money. I got rid of a lot of stuff. But it just didn't raise, a lot of people reserved tables and didn't show up.
Oh.
That drives me crazy.
That's tough.
The common courtesy of it. But, so we, after everything was said and done, we raised probably about $65 for the Easter egg hunt between the tables and the book sale. Book sale, I think, did better than all of us. So it was good. And we probably had a good 14 boxes and we donated 5 to the library afterwards. So, but it's one of those things, I don't have my Target contact that I did last year. So it's one of those things that was $250. Every year they donated all the baskets. So it's either I really decrease and don't do the basket idea and just start doing little things or what. But it depends on the weather too. I don't know how many people are gonna come. You do the sign up genius and people, oh, I forgot. Can my kids still do it? That's what happened the first year. That's why we got rid of the sign-up thing, because there was more people who showed up that didn't sign up than did. So it's one of those things that you can plan for 250 kids and you get 350. Then you're in big trouble. And that's what happened to the second year.
Or the weather's bad and you don't.
Or the weather's bad, exactly. Last year, I made 450 bags and we only had 200 show up. So we can reuse some of the stuff that was in it. I'm trying to back off on the candy so we can reuse. But we did raise $100 at the end of last year in donations. Well, it was like $87. That went right to Walmart and Target and bought out everything they had left over for Easter. So I could reuse a lot of the toys and the pencils and, for the gift bags. But it doesn't go very far. Not as far as you would think.
Did we have it in our budget last year? Was it-
No, Pickleball donated it
Pickleball,
last
okay.
year.
We still have the line item in our budget to use for
Programs.
discretional program funding.
Programs, yeah. And what is that line item budgeted for?
Oh, I think it was like $500 or $1,000. I'd have to look at this year's. I don't think he changed it, but it was small.
That's
But we don't have any major
that's-
things. We have that, we had the seniors
seniors.
thing, and then miscellaneous little things that pop up during the year. Nothing which is large here.
Right.
Right, and typically I don't go over a couple $100 because Target's been helping out. So it's either I really downsize it or I start charging people. And the point is not to charge because that takes away from the women's club, from their bunny breakfast and what they're trying to do and raise money for scholarships and all that. So I kind of wanted to avoid that and just let this be a fun event. So they can hit the bunny breakfast, give the money to them so they can do what they need to do with it, and this just be a fun thing for the kids.
So without Target, because you said your Target connection is gone.
Yep.
Without
Yep.
Target, what do you foresee? this costing?
Foreseeing this year, I already spent the $87. I have the 60. I was kind of hoping to go and get some extra Halloween candy that was left over. That's already gone. So I'm thinking around $300 or $400 for this year to replace the big baskets. But like I said, I talked to Jason a couple years ago when I first started it, and he lives in Plastow, and I guess Plastow does a huge one every year. And so that woman contacted me and she said, look, we don't do the big baskets. We do like, if you find an egg that has a number on it, they get like sidewalk chalk or bubbles or, some small stuff. Instead of one kid getting this big basket, everybody kind of gets a little something. So I might have to do that. I'm not exactly sure. But if I kept it exactly the same as how I've been doing it, about $400 to replace all the prizes and the goodie bags and all that.
Right.
So
So we can We can talk to the different organizations, see if there's anybody interested. I know pickleball
Pickleball has been
did
donating in the
did
past.
something
yeah.
else,
Yep.
because they're working with, supporting all the extra hours for the maintenance. But,
Oh, okay,
We
yeah.
can talk to some of the other organizations, see if they're interested in helping out at all.
Okay,
Yeah, that'd be great. If you have contacts, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Talk to
'cause-
some of the presidents,
okay,
see if they're interested.
okay. Great.
It also might get their people interested in going too,
That would
because
be
then you'd
great.
be in a contact list. Get them all to donate $50 or $70, and then they put it out to the contact list of what you're doing.
Well, that's how it worked last year, because they had a baseball game going on pretty much the same time, right after the
Mhm.
Easter egg hunt.
Mhm.
So I know Keith was like, he comes in, he's like, yeah, okay, my daughter's coming. Because they were there anyways. So it just happened to work out. So, planning something like that, that would be great if we could do, a game right afterwards or, before. I don't know if that would work, but we kind of take everything over, the fields.
yeah, it was
everything,
after,
the woods.
because, yeah, we
Yeah.
didn't want.
Yeah, we used
flying all over
every
the place.
inch of that place, so.
The field, the woods, everything.
The woods, even up by the street, we put the older kids up by the street. Like, don't go past the yellow tape. But yeah, trust me, I had to pick all those eggs up afterwards. There's a lot. Okay, just something to keep in mind.
Yep,
Yep.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else?
I can't think of anything.
8:15, I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Got a second?
Second.
Colleen, all in
Oh,
favor?
yeah, oh, yeah.
Aye. Perfect, I'll go make some copies. You
So,
leave it unlocked?
do you want somebody, I can scan them and email them to everybody. Is that how you wanna do it?
What's
Well-
legal, Steve?